kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets.
Oh, right. You know, I wonder, guys, how long that line that I stuck in that intro of Joe Douglas saying, my message to the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now. I wonder how long it will be applicable. I thought about taking it out when we were doing well. I'm like, well, that doesn't apply. And here we are again. Welcome to the Thursday Think of It, everybody. I am GreenBean, and we have very limited pieces of our crew tonight. I am here, as you can see clearly, Y2K, president of the Jets faction in Virginia himself, and New York Sportsbooker Media is here with us tonight. Jeremy is at an animal hospital, I think. Let's all send him some positivity. And Frankie, he can't. He's working, dude. He's stuck. Frankie's stuck. So we'll do this one by ourselves tonight. Let me adjust the lighting. I am GreenBean, like I said, and I'm still happy to be here with you. We have much to discuss. It's so funny. I did a thing this morning. I do my morning show, Good Morning Jets, and we went over some stuff. And since that show, so much has happened. It's absurd. Absurd. What is going on in this world? From second guessing ourselves. I'm telling you, man, I'm a firm believer that the Jets, and I've been saying this for 20 something years, there should be a contingent of fans, 10 of us, well-respected fans, not assholes, not crazy people like, Jets forever. He can't, not him, but like a bunch of us. They should have a little round table of fans that they bounce things off of. This is what we're thinking of doing. Does it make sense? Because we are clearly drunk. When are they going to do that? Dude, you know how many years that the fans have been pretty much right? I mean, look, there's outskirts, right? There's all kinds of weird shit going on in the fandom. You got really intense feelings here. You got really intense. But overall, by and large, we know who to draft. We know who to sign. We know who to stay away from. And we know that when you have a rookie quarterback, throw in the entire book. He has 1,100 plays. Giving him the entire book with no offensive line and saying, go on out there. You've been here for a hot 4 months. Have at it. That's probably not going to work so well. We talked about it all last year. We hoped that this year, that the whole thing of last year would have benefit to him this year. We knew. We talked about tiered systems, right? We talked about it, man. Scaffolding. Go up a level. Make that your support and then go up a level from there. We talked about it. I want to remind you guys of something. Mike LaFleur came out today and said, well, maybe we could have let him sit learn behind a vet. I'm just going to remind you of something. You guys might not remember this, but the first thing I thought of is this. And I know that you all remember this, by the way. It sounds a little bit like Adam Gase in his second to last game interview before he left and he knew he was fired. Does this sound familiar? Maybe we could have done a better job with Sam Darnold. Maybe I didn't do a good enough job developing him. Oh, no shit. You don't think maybe hiring a quarterback coach and an offensive coordinator could have helped? Isn't it exhausting, man? Isn't it, though? Like, look, I am one. You guys, I know the playoff shit. We'll get to that in a second, too. I got to get to the thing, though. Let me just put this up. I got to get to the thing. Where is he? I threw him under the bus. Let me do his thing. Hold on. Where'd it go? I saw. Oh, here it is. Hey, thank you, Jets forever. And don't be personalizing it today. Okay, let's just hang out. But look, dude. When you hire rookies, right? Whether that's a quarterback, whether that's a general manager, whether that's a coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, absolutely woven into that choice is a certain period of time that you're going to see mistakes. You're going to see learning. You're going to see learning on the job. You're going to see them bang their head into shit that seemingly from the outside looking in, Monday morning quarterback type of thing, you can tell. It seems so simple, but in the moment, it's not. We understand that. That takes time. All these coaches, Robert Saleh, he's never been the guy to make the decisions before. He's a defensive coordinator. He's running around with his get back coach. Yeah, Bosa, good sack. Like that's what he's doing. Great. He's designing defenses, and that's all he has to. So when he expands his role and he's got to be responsible for timeouts, it's new. I get it. Totally fine. When you're the guy, you're only in charge of the passing game. You have a guy who calls the plays, who's in charge of the entirety of the offensive scheme, and he is kind of the arbiter of how things are going to get presented and all that sort of stuff. So then you take a kid who's good. That said leader kept him around for 5 years on 3 teams, so he's good. He's got the chops. But he's got to learn. But why is it that in order to learn, you have to start from complete idiocy? Why? How many issues did we have last year? You're making a wide receiver learn 3 positions? Why? Why? Like their choices of personnel? Why? Why? Zach's getting the entire playbook. He looks like his head is swimming. Why? And we've been saying it. So now we've been arguing about it. We've been talking about it. We know what side of things that most of us are on. And now we have to endure this. Just Google New York Jets today. Google it. 9 out of 10 articles are going to be about Mike LaFleur second guessing himself on how to develop Zach Wilson. And that to me is almost as bad as the entire operation. It's frustrating, man, because let me tell you something. I already got 2 texts from assholes whose teams are doing better. Hey, did you hear your offensive? Yes, I heard him. You know what I mean? Aren't you sick of it, Harry? Frankie's fine. He's working. He's fine. Good, thanks for asking. Aren't you tired of it? Realistically. Aren't you tired? GreenBean, what does that mean? What's he saying, Y2K? GreenBean, you're what? My underwear is showing? That's the most frustrating thing for me. Just fucking forge ahead. Own it. You don't need to announce it. Just go, you know what, man? In the house and then do it differently. That's what you do. Radovan, what's up, buddy? He says, no issue with these coaches making mistakes. But where is the accountability? Will Saleh ever make players or coaches account? Saleh seems way too nice. Well, I have that. Thank you, Y2K. I think, again, Saleh has to learn how to do these things, right? And I'm giving him just like you said, no issue with them making mistakes, learning. But we're at the end of 2 years now. You have to know that when your player does something piss poorly, or does something against what the game plan is. Like, let's say hypothetically, he shoots it, he thinks he sees something. And instead of maintaining his responsibility, he shoots a gap that he's not supposed to, and then the runner goes up his gap for 60 yards. Like that kind of shit. What do? You grab the player and say, one more of those. One more. You hear me? You know what I'm talking about. You know I see it. You know what you did. One more. Do you get it? And he doesn't do that. And I think that Salah's going to realize, hopefully not too late, that all this respect and love and appreciation for one another and all that shit, it goes out the window because your job's on the line. And you're going to have to realize that. It's me or them. They do what I want them to do or they get the hell out of here. That's what's got to happen. No, I think he's good. I do. I think he's got a lot of what we want. Robert Saleh, that is. I also think Mike LaFleur has a lot of what we want. Again, when you watch the coach's film, it's not to say I love everything. And his choices in certain situations, guys, I can't get over it. Why? Like, you know what I mean? It's madness. That said, a lot of those blown plays that we're seeing that don't amount to shit, dude, there are guys open. The lines, there's time. There's guys open. There's more than enough going on for the plays to work. And a legitimate quarterback would do it. I'm a firm believer that we're a quarterback away. Not that we don't need a better offensive line. Of course we do. We can improve at it, all over the place. But as far as getting into the playoffs, dude, we got it. We need one position, really. And if it doesn't matter who it is, but somebody's got to give us 65% completion and up, dude. Somebody's got to give it to us. If we get that, we're in. So anyway, reading this Mike LaFleur shit today, and I watched a little clip. I don't know. It's weird where my cookie crumbles. You know what I mean? My cookie doesn't crumble where everybody else's does. I tend to be a little more resilient than some. I can weather a lot. And then there's just weird little things that come out and I lose my marbles. This is one of those things. Everybody knew you were doing it wrong, dude. All right. You were taking a lot of risks. Everybody knew that. Own it, bro. Don't second guess the last 2 years. Does Mike LaFleur not have any awareness? Just like when he's on the field, I don't think he really has like situational awareness. It's one of the issues I have with him. Like, dude, do you realize what's happening right now? Like, look at what's the word I'm looking for? Look at I don't know. Just look at like what's happening on the field. Look at the situation. Look what has been working, what hasn't been working. Look at the alignments. Look and go, ooh, you know what? Don't stick to your damn scheme, to your plan. Roll with what you see. I don't think he does that very well. Now, the other thing, this is an indicator of that. Does he not realize that there's a huge outcry for his head right now? So now is when you come out and you say, hey, the biggest responsibility that I had the last 2 years, I did it wrong. Like now? It's just a funny thing. I don't know what it is. Kevin C. Oh, here he is, Mr. Positive himself. I have many receipts for Robert. All my tickets to watch 3 and 5 at home. There you go. Bring it to Robert. They're going up 30%. Your receipts will be worth more next year. I think 19 New York Jets, 69. I think he does hold them accountable, but not in front of. And look, we've talked about that too, maybe. But the thing is this. I don't doubt that there's some of that going on. I don't doubt it. But the thing is this. In the game, you can't, if there's something like, for example, that 60-yard run by Walker in the Seattle game, it was like play 1 or 2, right? You can't wait till after the game in the locker room to address what happened there. You got to look at it and go, give me that goddamn surface. Where was he? Quincy Williams, Jordan Whitehead. And by the way, DJ Reed had a piss poor attempt at tackling. Again, I didn't even rewatch. I just don't feel like rewatching that one. I just don't. I'm not breaking, bro. Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about the New York Jets. So guys, I put a poll in the chat. Let me know what you think. You know, I already know some of you, right? And like the thing is, this is how I believe it goes. And I'm okay with it, is that when you're feeling something fresh, you feel one way. Then you think, you bring logic into it, and you feel another way. Then you have time to look at things more clearly, in more detail, and you feel another way. You don't have to feel the same way you felt 5 minutes after the incident, whatever it might be, once you have new information. So I like to see where we are. Now, this is still fresh. So we're all over the joint. You know what I mean? We're definitely still emotional, but it's you know, it's a little bit of time. You know, generally speaking, especially during the season, 1 week, it's like Sunday and Monday, blah, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, you're like, I don't know. And then Thursday, you're like, you know what? And Friday, you're like, yeah, that's how it goes. That's the way it goes every week. Indy Jets, how is this not all on Joe Douglas? You can't polish a turd and make anything but a turd. Indy, here's the thing. I'll tell you right now. The idea that you're taking those intricate details and you're placing it on the general manager just shows me, number one, you're not looking at it. Okay. There's plenty of talent on there. Now, the coaching hire is on Joe Douglas. Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, they're in year 2. Now, we can talk about this stuff. I'm one who thinks the entire group should get 4 years. 4. Even if they struggle next year, they get a 4th. That's what I believe. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this idea that high firing and hiring. Joe Douglas has proven time and time and time again that he knows how to be GM. Now, if you're going to point to the first things he ever did, sure. And you want to, it's like, adding the first record. It's like, or the first year. It's just ridiculous to me. From my vantage point, Joe Douglas is clearly the best general manager that has ever worked for the New York Jets. The only one that could even be comparable is Dick Steinberg. That's it. And he wasn't exactly great either. He was good. Very well-respected man around the NFL. Highly thought of, highly regarded, and he did some very successful things. The idea that you want to take the one guy that clearly knows what the hell he's doing, even with the mistakes, even if this coaching staff fails, again, it's his first time ever doing it. Like, I'm one who believes even if the coaching staff fails, Joe Douglas should hire the next coaching staff. That's me. That's me. That's how I see it. I mean, look, you can take anything and put it on anybody. But again, at some point, you hire people and then it's their job to do something. That's what it is. Now, the ultimate choice, yes. The intricate details, no. Like, it goes down the line. Like, if let's say LaFleur is truly in over his head, that's on Robert Saleh. Well, it's on LaFleur, but it's on Robert Saleh for not identifying that and making a decision. Joe Douglas has entrusted him with that. That's your job. You see what I'm saying? And if he can't, and he's a big flub, then you have to go back up to the general manager and see what he's got to do with it. Jason Edwards, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. Mike LaFleur quote was a bit much today. His first and 15s are ridiculous. Also, why can't we just move JFM to the middle and keep JJ and Huff on the edge? Dude, Jason Edwards, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, look, clearly, thank you. Clearly, I don't have the same acumen coaching-wise as Robert Saleh, Mike LaFleur. I've never deconstructed the game quite to the degree that they have, right? That's not what I do for a living. So I've never done that. That said, we've been watching football a long time, and we do deconstruct it a little bit. Jay? So when you see something happening, and like 90% of us feel that it should be happening this way, and they're holding on to it, this is why I think they should have a contingent of fans. They should have 10 fans that they confer on every big decision. Hey, before the draft, we should be brought into the war room and we should have a 7-hour meeting. I'm a firm believer I should be in that meeting too, by the way. And then we got to talk to them and they go, hey, look, we know we need X, Y, and Z, but check it out. You're going to love it. We're going to pick the opposite from a small school. I know he's 28 years old as a rook, but hear us out. You know, crazy shit that the Jets do. Now, in the last couple years, I don't think they've done that. That's the reason why I like Joe Douglas. It's just like, I mean, the drafts make sense. I mean, when have we had a general manager that can find talent like he has? Please, I'll wait. Please line up the mid to late round talent that we've acquired over the last 30 years. You'll pluck out the first one that I'll get handed is Fadukasi. The second one will be Snacks. Then there'll be Robbie Anderson. And those guys are over that's like a 12-year period. That's 3. I mean, who else? So, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference. And when you see a guy that clearly knows what to do, even if he's making mistakes, you let him keep going. You let him overcome the mistakes, and you finally get an organization that isn't slapdick and isn't just filled with tumult and overturning and turnover. And you gotta stabilize this thing, man. You gotta stabilize it. Arbiv, what's up, dude? It wasn't a good idea to sanction the team to wear Mike White t-shirts after they benched their franchise quarterback. Soul crushing for Zach. Bad coaching. Now, I told you guys this the other day. Arbiv, I'm going to second this wholeheartedly. I forget which stream. Maybe it was Tuesday after hours. I forget. I actually got a comment under one of my videos. Maybe it was you, Arbiv. And it said exactly that. Like, what kind of head coach are you that you don't identify within a split second that you bench your number 2 overall pick? You're the guy who was supposed to be the quarterback of the team. Clearly he's struggling. You gotta bench him. Great move. Hard to do. I respect you for having the balls to do it. Then the team goes out and makes Mike F. and White shirts, and they're all wearing it on the bus to get on the plane for the Minnesota game, I think it was. The second you see that, you grab one of your underlings and you say, hey, go around and fucking take every one of those Mike F. and White shirts before Zach sees it. How dare you? You can't have that. You can't have that much of a divide. And just like Arbiv says, the soul crushing, no doubt. No doubt, man. No doubt. I don't give a shit that they were all happy about it. Let me tell you something. This is the honest truth. When I saw that, the first thing I thought, because the clip that I saw was Conklin and maybe it was somebody else, but it was Conklin and Mike White. Mike White was wearing a Conklin shirt and Conklin was wearing a Mike F. and White shirt. The first thing I looked around was to see if other guys were. It's one guy, okay, you guys are doing a thing, it's fine, right? Stupid, cute, whatever. When I saw that it was 3-4 other guys, the first thing I thought is, this is not good. It's the first thing. Why are they allowing that? That's not cool, man. Give a shit even if you dislike the person sincerely over here, you don't do that, man. That's me. So let's say that Zach is a flop, which I'm sad to say I do think he more than likely is. And the coaching staff fails. You give them 4 years, unless next year is like an 0-16 or 0-17 or something. Even though the late season collapse happened in the way that it did, and it fucking hurts and everybody hates it and the whole thing, the truth is this is the best team that we've fielded in a very long time. And the again, even though the late season collapse and the whole thing, the needle is still pointing up. You got to let them continue. They haven't figured that out yet. So let's say Zach Wilson is a complete bust and Robert Saleh and the crew are a complete bust. You still give Joe Douglas the opportunity to hire another coaching staff and find another quarterback. I think they're going to find another quarterback this year, though. That's what I think. Even if they do, like hell or high water, hey, man, great. I'm with it. Hell or high water, dude. Develop the kid. I don't give a shit. Truly. I would love if Zach Wilson ends up being everything that you'd hoped. What if it takes 4 years to do it? So what? If that's what you want to do. So go ahead. But you better bring in a quarterback in the meantime. Somebody that can give you 65% completion percentage and has a propensity to throw more touchdowns than he does interceptions. That's it. You do that, and we're fine. Mitt Flair says 5 years. Well, 5 years, sure. Like, look, dude, if there's anything we know, firing and hiring and firing and hiring, and every time bringing on a rookie for the most part. Gase wasn't a rookie, but he just was fired after 4 miserable years in Miami. That was a very unique circumstance and just so foolish from the word go. But generally speaking, if you look over the Jets coaching tree, I forget, we counted it, but it's like what, 8, 9, something like that, rookies. We could do it right now if you want. So you got Weeb. Weeb was he was an experienced coach. All right. So you got Walt Michaels. Right. Who was between? Anyway, let's start with Walt Michaels. I get muddy before that because it wasn't my era. Walt Michaels, it was a first-time head coach. He was replaced by Joe Walton, who was a first-time head coach. He was replaced by Bruce Coslett, who was a first-time head coach. Bruce Coslett was fired after 3 years, and his defensive coordinator was placed in his spot, Pete Carroll, for first-time head coach. He got 1 year and was fired. Then we fired Pete Carroll and hired Rich Kotite, who was a head coach and was just fired from the Eagles in a very similar manner as the Adam Gase firing, right? So this is interesting. So we fire Rich Kotite, and then we hire, no. Rich Kotite resigns out of respect for Leon Hess. Got to give it to him. He knows what the fuck is going on. He knows. I suck at this. So Leon Hess replaces him with Bill Parcells. Great. We get 3 years from Bill. Bill Belichick doesn't count because he never coached for us. But then we got Al Groh as first-time head coach, replaced by Herman Edwards, first-time head coach, replaced by Eric Mangini, first-time head coach, replaced by Rex Ryan, first-time head coach, replaced by Todd Bowles, first-time head coach, replaced by Adam Gase, our third experienced coach, once again after 4 miserable years in Miami, fired unceremoniously. We fire Adam Gase and we go back to the drawing board with a first-time head coach. That's 11, dude. So if we're going to hire first-time head coaches, this bullshit that after 2 years you want to chop their heads off, especially when there's clear things to like, is asinine to me. Now, if we're going to keep doing that, then we're going to keep doing it. We have no fucking power in this situation, just to remind everybody. We can chat it up. I can do this for 9 hours. They don't give a shit, which is why I'm saying we should be in the room. And not everybody that agrees with the same thing. We should be in there. We're the ones enduring this shit. Shit, we've been here longer than Woody. Whoops. You know what I mean? Damn right, Hank or Hawk. Hank too. Hank and Hawk. Oh, I love this take. I love these takes. Like LaFleur and Saleh didn't want Zach. Joe Douglas made him take him. Dude, they got together. They scouted him. They chatted it up. They talked about it. What can you do with this, that, and the other? And they chose him. Dude, just to remind you, Indy, like pinning a quarterback on a GM and saying like, you know, oh, he sucks. Dude, out of the last, whatever it was, 12 years, like, or 10 years, 15 quarterbacks were taken in the top 5. You know how many made it? 4. The other 11 were busts or are disappointing. Like they're using the last 4 games from Sam Darnold now. Like, dude, it's not so momentary. Like, look at the whole entirety of it. A couple good games here. That doesn't make a number 3 overall pick successful. You see what I mean? JJ Prevalon. Thank you, buddy. He says this coaching staff should get 4 years, even if they miss the playoffs next year. I hope you're joking. Saleh needs to go. Harbaugh wants back in the NFL. I'm not joking. And this Harbaugh thing, Pavilion, has been literally going on for 10 years. You're just the latest guy to say it, buddy. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't go for it. I've said a million times already. Now, in the very unlikely scenario that you put a little feeler out there, a little tiny message boy, like Game of Thrones, the little kids, the what do you call little birds, right? Varies with his little birds. You send a little bird to Sean Payton's house and you go, hey, real quick, any interest whatsoever in the Jets job? And if he says, yeah, then you talk about it. If he says no, get out. Harbaugh, whatever. Maybe. I don't feel the same way about Harbaugh that I do about Peyton. But let me tell you something. Yes, I'm saying this coaching staff should get 4 years. Did they not improve from 1 year to the next? Let me ask you that. Again, sucks that we had the collapse at the end of the year. But if we would have gotten 65% completion percentage play out of the quarterback, no matter what his name was, we would have won at least 2-3 more games and we wouldn't be talking about this. That's a fact. It's a fact. Christopher Sullivan, what's up, buddy? Love when you're heated. I need a cigarette. I know, me too. This is what I got. I don't smoke. I got this piece of shit. What's Y2K saying? Oh, yeah. Thank you, buddy. I'm going to bring Y2K on in a little while, too. Say 9 o'clock. I got a few people that are supposed to come on. Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7 was supposed to be a guest co-host, but he's also got a wife. And he's also got a date thing going on. He's like, yeah, my wife. I'm like, it's date night, buddy. I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't be so ready. You know, dates with the wife, especially when you just had a kid. You know what I mean? Like, special time is very special. You got to remember that. I'm not heated. I'm just, like, it's just tired. I think it is. Fucking tired. And like when LaFleur came out and said that, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, again, like my triggers are a little different than everybody else's, I think. I'm very sensitive to underlying things. Like, I'm not so affected by the obvious. Like, there are people that get crumbled to pieces by the obvious. That's just not me. I'm not saying right or wrong, better or worse. That's just not me. Well, Jets gang, again, I don't know how much footage you're watching. There were more than enough plays that there's more than enough time, and there's wide receivers or tight ends or sometimes wide receivers and checkdowns that are open within the time frame that the offensive line blocked for, and we don't hit the play for a few reasons. One is Zach's issue that I see, not that he doesn't have a couple, but the main issue I see with Zach is that he's tentative and afraid. Like, so let's say Garrett Wilson, he does let's just say a slant, right? He runs 8 yards and he does the slant and he's got his guy by a step. The safety's over there. He's got the window. He's tentative, doesn't throw it. The safety has time to adjust. They're watching his eyes, the whole thing. So now the check down, so he's already open. He missed him. Now he's open over here. He doesn't throw it. He waits 2 seconds, then throws it, and the guy gets crushed because everybody can adjust to it. I see that all the time. Another thing I see is with the same tentative nature, you can see it, dude. He gets like stiff. He gets like a see it all the time with him. He sees the play, the line, the pocket's there. Maybe it's 2 seconds, but it's long enough. The play's there. Just throw it. He waits a split second and then throws it 3 yards above their head, or he throws it into the dirt, holding it, just being scared. I'm not saying the line's great. What I am saying is that using them as the reason ain't it, man. Telling you, I watch. And again, I'm not saying the offensive line is great. I'm saying they did a great job dealing with the injuries that they had this year. Unbelievable. This line is still, with all the injuries, is still better than the 2018, 19, 20 offensive lines. I'm telling you, dude. And that's a credit to Benton and if I may, it's a credit to Joe Douglas going out there mid-swing and finding these guys. Like Oboye came in. Am I going to say Oboye was some world beater? No. Did he hold down the fort? Did he neutralize Von Miller in his first game as a starter when 3 weeks ago he was on the Texans practice squad? Yes. So there, like I said, there's enough. There's enough. If you look at it through an objective lens, not the lens of like, you know what I mean? Which is so easy to get to. I was in a discussion with somebody earlier. They said, I don't know how you stay calm and blah, blah, blah. I said, dude, let me just tell you, man. My first reaction looks like the most pissed off Jets fan you ever saw. That's my first reaction. It takes conscious effort for me to be objective. Again, I'm not saying I'm right all the time, even though I am, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, in order to, like, being angry is the lowest common denominator, man. It's the easiest thing to grab. It's the low-hanging fruit. Pissed off, fire somebody, chop off their head. That's the fucking easiest thing to do. Where it's difficult is to see a problem that looks like it's scorched earth and find a way through it nonetheless. Come on. Fuck's his name? What's the coach in Pittsburgh? Come on, Y2K. What is it? I want to say Landon. That's ridiculous. Tomlin. Thank you, Y2K. God, Brian Flores. No, yeah, Tomlin. Like, look at Tomlin, dude. There was talk this year. ESPN, Sporting News. Tomlin, there's discussions of the Pittsburgh Steelers moving on from Tom. Really? They don't act like that. That's not, you're talking about the wrong franchise, man. They haven't fired a coach in 50 years. They're not firing Tomlin because it's his first faced with adversity. They gave him the time. He's experienced and he found a way through it. You see what I mean? You give him the time. I don't know what Salah will be, but I'll tell you what, 2 years ain't enough time to figure it out. You've seen enough. There's enough positives there. We have a top 5, top 10 defense in the NFL. Is anybody worried going into the offseason? Is anybody worried about our cornerbacks? Is anybody worried about our defensive line? Right? They're building the team. Anybody worried about the wide receivers? We have some choices to make sure. I'm not worried about it. We don't need a number 1 wide receiver. Anybody worried about running backs outside of wondering if Breece Hall's gonna make it back 100%? I'd say we're good. Get a couple offensive linemen. Get me a quarterback that throws 65%, and we're good, dude. The defense held everybody to 22 points or less the whole friggin' year. It's like, again, it's not to say, and we're not even supposed to be done. We're supposed to be halfway there. That's where we're supposed to be. Nobody's saying that the collapse didn't suck. But firing everybody, I don't know, man. It's just not where I stand. T. Rivera checking in. What's up, buddy? Thank you. Excuse me. GreenBean, we always hired inexperienced coaches. We have to go back to the Parcells days, and that was still 90. The 90s, maybe. We need to give this coaching staff at least 5 years. Zach needs to sit and learn, get Carr, go Jets. Dude, T. Rivera, and I'm sorry, I kind of was stepping on, your comment was there and I was talking about similar subjects. I apologize. But dude, I agree with you. And believe me, dude, you guys see me week to week. I do a live stream. You know how vulnerable a live stream while the game is on really makes me? I can't even watch those live streams afterward. I'm sickened by myself. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I act like this. So I'm willing to do that for you because I love you. I'm willing to do that because I've already reserved the right to change my mind once I learn something new, right? I am furious at times with this damn organization. Again, I'm not saying that they are 100%. I'm not saying that they're perfect. Joe Douglas, if you can put another Jets general manager up against Joe Douglas and explain to me why he was better, I'll listen and see if you get this. I'll listen, man. I will calmly wait and let you finish your entire asinine argument because it's wrong. And if you bring Parcells into it, dude, I'm going to take you out by the legs because Parcells as a general manager was a complete shit show. He fucking ruined this organization. The only thing that saved him was how amazing he is as a coach and a leader. And that 2000 draft when him and Al grow. Other than that, bad stuff. But yeah, T. Rivera, look, 5 years is what Salah's contract is. I wonder, people are like, oh, Woody this and Woody that. Number one, Woody has never fired a coach before his contract was up until Adam Gase. Never, not once. So all this bullshit, it doesn't have precedent. Again, that was technically Christopher Johnson too. Woody wasn't back yet. So there's no precedent for Woody to act like that. And let me tell you something that people are forgetting to include, T. Rivera. They had to pay Todd Bowles and Mike McCagnon while they weren't working here. They had to pay Adam Gase while he wasn't working here. You think that they're into that? They think 2 years in, you think they want to pay? And Salah has a contract, $5 million a year. Salah got a 5-year, $5 million per contract. How into it do you think Woody is to fire him Go out there and pay. Who are you going to get? What do you get? You think you're going to get Harbaugh for anything under 10? You think you're going to go out there and steal Sean Payton and motivate him to come to this dumpster fire for less than 10, 15? I don't know, something like that, right? So he's going to pay Saleh for the next 3 years, $5 million a year. Oh, yeah, he's going to fire Joe Douglas, too. I think Joe Douglas makes $6 million. Let's find out. Joe Douglas contract. Let's see. Joe Douglas, 3 years. Wait a minute. Son, who the fuck is it? He re-signed for 2022. Douglas has wait a minute. He just signed another contract? No way. No way. We would have heard about that, right? Let's see here. Doesn't say. I don't know how much Joe does. Let me see. NFL GM contracts. Let's see. How much money do the front office guys make? Let me see. General managers gamble. It's a gambling site. What does the general manager do? What do they make? Yeah. The point remains. Texans, Nick Caserio, one of the highest paid. He's doing great. Salary rankings. This is going to be, let me see. All positions. Let's see if they have general managers in here. Kicker. Nope. No. All right. Well, the point remains the same. He's going to go out there and get 3. Joe Douglas makes $3 million. Y2K? 3. All right. So thank you. Joe Douglas makes $3 million a year. Robert Saleh somehow makes $5 million a year. And then you got the LaFleurs and the old bricks. They all have contracts too, you know. So he's going to pay all those guys for the next 3 years and go out there and get Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh. When he's never done it before. I'm telling you, man, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. It's a sequel. Remember that shit? What was that? That was Public Enemy, right? Hell yeah. I'll tell you what. I went to a show at Madison Square Garden many, many moons ago. I took the bus from Parsippany all the way to Port Authority. And it was Clash of the Titans. It was Alice in Chains opening up. They were the opening band. It was their first album. They weren't even a thing yet. They only had one song out, Man in a Box. They were new. I didn't even like them that much. I'm like, yeah, they're all right. I missed half their show. I didn't even care. So it was Alice in Chains opening up for Slayer, Megadeth, and Anthrax, who brought out Public Enemy for the last 20 minutes of their set. Come on now. Flavor Flav was out of his mind. That was when he was still young. He was out of his mind wearing clocks. Remember that shit? Well, here's the thing with Carr, Greg. I get it. That's a concern, and you have to factor that in, right? But here's the way I look at that. If you have a guy that his home games, his practice, everything is in warm weather, when he travels for one day to the cold weather, yes. Right? If he's in the cold weather, that's his home, I imagine the adjustment is real. Like, let me tell you, like you guys know, I was born and raised in New Jersey. Opinions aside, that's where I was born. All right. I couldn't control it. Not my fault. I was born just outside of Newark in Orange, New Jersey. And I lived in Belleville and Nutley. And I went to most of my life was in Lake Hiawatha, which was Parsippany, right? Parsippany High School, Parsippany Police, all that stuff. And then I lived in West Orange. And then I started to bounce around the country, LA, Vegas, Miami, and everything else. When I lived in New Jersey till I was 32 years old, when I went to Florida, I lived there for a year. It's like 7-8 months. And I came back to New Jersey in the winter and I couldn't handle it. It's the truth. My whole family was making fun of me. What happened to you? I'm like, it's freezing in here. Everybody's in these shorts. I'm like, it's freezing in here, man. Now I live in the Shenandoah Valley, and it's temperate here. It's like it's snowing on one side and snowing on the other, and somehow it's warmer in the valley. I don't know why that is, but it still gets cold. It was -11 last week. So anyway, just saying, Greg, you know what I mean? So, all right, let's do this one. Jason Edwards checking back in. Thank you, Jason. Collectively, our fan base is so used to chaos that it feels uncomfortable when we are trending up. This regime is different. Give them 2 more years. You know what? I agree with that. I really do. Our comfort zone, like we feel more like it's easier for us. It's like, it's what we expect. Like, all right, here it is. I knew these guys were frauds. Then we start taking all their little sayings, receipts, and we start turning it on them. And it's like, why can't we just kind of roll? Why can't we give an organization 4 years of complete support? No matter what, through the ups and downs. Like, let me tell you something. I've told you 1,000 times, and if you were hanging with me, you know, I didn't want Robert Saleh, and I didn't want Zach Wilson. That's the truth. I didn't hate the picks, the choices. I didn't want either one of them. They were not on my list. But that said, they were highly thought of, clearly talented. Everybody loves Saleh. You know what I mean? Give them more than 10 minutes to rectify this crazy place. Zach Wilson is part of the problem, dude. As a matter of fact, the source of it might not be him, Jim Pock, but let me tell you this. He's a huge problem. Huge. Again, maybe not his fault. Maybe if we had a legit quarterback guru in here, maybe none of this shit happens. I don't know. Calabrese. We've been talking about it for 2 years. This is funny, Matt. Matthew Smith, thank you. But here's the thing, buddy. I'm not doing it to be cool. So there's that. Does that give me anything? But Jason, where was I? Yeah, dude, like give us 2 more years. Just without question. Stop throwing people. You know what I mean? Stop calling for people's heads. Again, if you guys watch the tape, you'll see it. And it's just so like how black and white everybody is these days. I have to keep saying this. I hate that I have to say it, but I'm not saying LaFleur is flawless, and I don't hate things about his system and his game calling and all that stuff. All right. I don't love his use of certain players. Like what happened to Michael Carter? You're going to tell me all of a sudden he's no good? Why did he get 1 carry last week? What is this? Like, and I think LaFleur does a lot of that stuff. I think the whole Denzel Mims thing, you know, the Elijah Moore thing, the Michael Carter thing. I think that LaFleur's got a lot to learn. How the hell can you not figure out how to use a 6'3", 4.38 speed guy who blocks like a fucking demon, and then a speedy, shifty juke anybody on that defense slot receiver? How can you not figure out how to get? I could, with only those 2 guys, I could beat any offense in the NFL. Or I'm sorry, any defense. You believe me? Jay, what do you think? You think I could do it? I don't know. I'm no coach, I'll tell you that. I was a 9, 10, 11-year-olds. I coached 9. Let me tell you how good of a coach I was for 9, 10, and 11-year-olds. 9, 10, and 11-year-olds. Did it for 3 years, and then I coached my son's team because when we showed up, it was I-9 in Florida. He was like 5 or 6. When we showed up in Florida to do the whole thing, it was flag football. They broke it all up into teams and all the coaches were there. Our team had no coach. No coach, not one. There's supposed to be like 5. We didn't have one. So they're like, they're handing out the jerseys. Hey, and everybody, all the kids are there, all the parents are there. And the guy just walks up and goes, hey, hey guys, word please. Turns out your team doesn't have any coaches. So we have a couple choices. One is we can just cancel, your kids don't play. We're like, whoa, that's not cool, man. How about they absorb into, the other teams are maxed out. They're only allowed a certain amount of players or something like that. I'm like, okay. The other one is you guys can coach. Anybody have any coaching experience? I'm like, well, yeah, but dude, it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to enjoy, you know what I mean? So a few of us parents, turns out the other parent had a few years of coaching experience. This guy has a little bit of coaching soccer and yeah. So we did that. But I coached 9, 10, 11-year-olds and then 6-year-olds. So collectively 4 seasons, right? 4 years. And I'm a good ass coach for that level. Let me tell you, I know about the, you know what I mean? Like about the foundational stuff, the basics, fundamentals. Dude, I'm good with that shit. How to catch. I used to do specific drills to work on catching fundamentals, tackling fundamental, all that stuff. I was good. And I made my players love me. Once you get into high school and shit, they're like, this guy don't know anything about I'm just not a coach, man. I can't break it down like that. That's Joe Blewett. You know what I mean? That's Frankie. Frankie can do that, I think. Jetasonic, I agree with this. When the players keep making the same mistakes, that's coaching. Pre-snap penalties, freelance, I 100%. A little bit on the players too, but yes. Parcells teams were some of the least penalized in the NFL. You want to know why? Because if you got penalized, don't give a shit if it's Jumbo Elliott or not. Get out. I'll ruin your career, kid. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Parcells got, Watch UK says Parcells got Curtis Martin. He did. Great move, too. That's what made Tannenbaum. You guys remember? That was what put Mike Tannenbaum on the map. He factored in what was called a poison pill. So if the Patriots matched it, remember it was like they had right of first refusal. They could match it, whatever, and then they have to. I don't know what it was. They had to match it, but then if we got them, we had to give them a first, which we did. But he put something in there, and I forget what it was. But if they matched it, it like completely screwed them. You know what I mean? Something was in the contract. And then we stole Curtis Martin in year 4 from the Patriots, Hall of Fame running back. And that put Tannenbaum on the map. Remember, Tannenbaum was just a brilliant accountant. And next thing you know, 10 years later, 8 years later, he's our general manager. Doesn't mean just because he hung around football, doesn't know what he needs to do when scouting players. He just looked to his coach. So what do you think? I was watching this player. He was tackling lots of people. What do you think? I was looking at this guy. He's 300 pounds, 6'5". What do you think? And Mangini said, yeah, that's great. I was watching this kid at a Pitt, and he's the best cornerback I've ever seen coming out of college. Let's take him instead. Okay. Jonathan Vilma's great. He's not really working for my scheme. I want to use my 2nd round pick on David Harris. Bring him in. Okay. How do you want to start your regime? I want to start it with a big ass left tackle and then follow that with a big ass center. I want to make the best offensive line in football. And then I'll follow that. We're going to take a shot at a quarterback. Okay. You just work out the numbers, Tanny. Okay? That's what happened. JJ Prevalon checking back in. Why can't we be Giants? Fire till we get it right. Well, let me share this with you, JJ Prevalon. The Giants have 5 trips to the Super Bowl in the last 20 years, all right? Whatever it is. 80, 96, 2006, 2016, 35 years. It's crazy. I'm that old. But, they got 4 championships. They have numerous Hall of Fame players. You know what I mean? They've had successful years, even when they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Like, they're a completely different organization than us. The saddest part about it is when they came down and slummed with us for a little while, you'd hope that we could have broke out first. And we did. We started, you know what I mean? It was like we're coming out. And we collapsed. They collapsed, but they caught it. That's what happened. They lost 4 in a row. They caught it. So I don't know, buddy. What I'll tell you is this. We have been firing everybody till we get it right. That's what we do. We've probably fired more coaches than any other team. I would imagine maybe Detroit or Cleveland. Cleveland had that stretch where nobody made it more than 2 years, right? And then Kitchens made it 1, and what's his name? The guy before Kitchens. What the hell's his name again? You know what? He was a Raiders coach, Y2K. Then he was a Cleveland Browns coach for like a year and a half. Then they fired him midstream. Greg Williams took over. What the hell was his name? You could see his face and everything. Giants are 1-4 against teams above a 500 record. Yeah. You know what, though? Like, that's the kind of stuff, like Chris, honestly, like, if that was, I don't care. Just want to win. Just want to win games. All right. So we're going to get to you. Let's see if there's any more comments. Let's switch gears a little bit. All right. Let's switch gears. Huge. Thank you. It's funny when you say it, it seems so clear. You know what I mean? It really does. So let me bring up the subject, and then I'll bring Watu. Y2K, you want to come on? You ready? Okay. We'll bring Y2K. There it is. Right. Drums. Hey, Drums. What's up, buddy? Don't tell anybody, but Drums is my cousin. At least I think that's you. Is that you? Tell me if it's you. Tell me if it's you, Drums. You know the deal. But my cousin said to me, we were talking on Instagram because I never get to see him anymore. Years, literally. And he said to me, we hang out more than you realize. I'm like, oh, that means he's watching some shows. That's what it means. Huge ass, right? Huge Rex, all jingle dubs. I don't know. Drums. Yeah, so it is my car. All right, good. I'm happy to see you, Ant. It's nice to see you, buddy. You look so happy on Instagram. I hope it's real. You look so good. Your beautiful life, beautiful wife. I love it. All right, anyway, we're going to switch gears. And we're going to talk about this craziness. Now, look, you guys know if you've seen the morning shows, we've been talking a lot about Damar Hamlin. What a crazy, crazy thing that was, right? Now, again, they didn't call it this, but it looks to me like a very similar scenario as what's called the Widowmaker, okay? The Widowmaker heart attack. And the reason they call it that is because generally speaking, it's a wrap because, not everybody, has a world-class medical staff surrounding them. And they, thankfully for him, Damar Hamlin, it's like, he had all those doctors, like he fell down, the players freaked out and they ran out and they got to it within seconds, right? Thankfully. And they even struggled. They had to, CPR and defibrillator and all that stuff. And then even at the hospital, he had to be resuscitated a couple of times. Yeah, there was a report today that said, and I don't know how accurate, how real it is, but he said that the first thing he said when he woke up was, "Did we win?" And the doctors or nurses or whoever was there said, "Yes, you did. You won the game of life." Right? Oh, I want to put that up. Gitmo, thanks for caring, Gitmo. I'm all right. It's just a lot. I put a lot in there. I can't find it. That's all it is. But I'm really not looking good. All right. So let me get that banner back up. All right, hold on. So an interesting thing is coming out of it. Now, it looks like he's at least improving. Thankfully, man. Now, I don't know if he'll ever play again or whatever. But he didn't die, and that's a great thing. And you're going to have all the traumatic impact that it had on friends, players that were there. They don't know what's going on. They just see this and they're terrified. And don't forget, most of these guys are young men, dude. 20, 23. I mean, this is heavy duty stuff. And they're on Monday Night Football in front of the world. It's a lot. It's a heavy duty thing. Now, putting that all aside, he lived and they're taking care of him and he's improving. Fantastic. Now we have to shift gears and look at this and say, well, what are they going to do about the game? I mean, this is playoff time, right? So it obviously, there's billions of dollars at stake, number one. Then you have the entire season. What happens with the playoffs? Who's going to make it? Who's not going to make it? And all this stuff. So there are some rumors coming out, and I don't know how real any of the rumors are, but they're pretty crazy. Okay, so let's bring Y2K on, see what he thinks. He says, "Welcome, Ohio." What's this? Hey, Ohio Jets fan. What a great name, too, man. Like, I write Y2K. I'm going to bring Y2K on. We'll talk about it together. Hey, guys, welcome to the stage. The president of the Virginia Jets fan club, the CEO of New York Sports Wicker Media, and all-around grumpy dude. Let's say hello to Y2K. How you doing there, friend? Good?
I am doing just fine. I'm doing better than I was on Sunday, that's for sure. Needed a few days of detox. I needed some football detox. I got to be honest with you. I couldn't even bear to turn on Bills Bengals on Monday.
Me neither.
I needed a day. It was only after social media started blowing up that I turned the TV on.
Dude, it's so true. Y2K, we are very similar birds in that respect. Like everybody, they like to watch on Monday, I had zero interest in watching a football game with playoff implications. Fuck out of here.
Playoffs.
You know what I mean? I want nothing to do with it. It's funny.
And now we're getting teased once again because you know what? As Jets fans, this is the type of thing that we're really used to. Just when we think that it's over, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me right back in. And this isn't official. I mean, right now, to me, it's all rumor and innuendo. Until the league confirms it, until I start seeing reports from Schefter, from Rappaport, from Pelissero, you name whatever reporter you want to name, I'm not willing to give myself into this, where a realistic scenario, if the Jets beat Miami, could put them in the playoffs. All it would take is the Jets winning, the Browns beating the Steelers, which is conceivable, and the Jags being the Titans, which I honestly think is this close to a lock. You talk about two ships passing in the night going completely opposite directions. That's the Titans and the Jaguars for you.
Yeah, it's the truth. Well, let me say this, though. Y2K just gave us an outline of what's going on. I want to take a second and welcome Ohio Jets fan officially. All right. So I love when guys, I love all your names, not every one of them, but most of your names, I love them all. Right. But I love when guys just say Ohio Jets fan, Iowa Jets. I love that for some reason. Honestly, seems very simple to me. I'm like, yes, thank you for the information. A lot of information packed in there. Now, Ohio Jets fan, I don't know how long you've been hanging around, but I've spent quite a bit of time in Ohio, whether it's beating up a bunch of Cleveland Brown fans because they were mean, or going to Canton, which I've done numerous times, or Cedar Point, which I spent a few days at just last year, or Kings Island, which I love. I might even like better than Cedar Point. That's a whole different thing. but I love Ohio, kinda, you know. But
Ohio's just like a good old school. It's just a very simple, run-of-the-mill American state. Little bit of everything. It's got the most rest stops of any state in the United States.
Is that accurate?
Trivia. My mom's a tour guide. She's been a tour guide for 20 years, so she knows all this wonderful trivia. If she ever goes on Jeopardy one day, she'll be in pretty good shape.
Wow, that's amazing. You know what? Ohio may be the state. They had this thing where, like, I was in an RV, right? So you gotta think about stuff a little bit more. But they have rest stops, Y2K, where you can pull off, and they have like full hookups. Like you pay $3 for the night, and you have like electricity and water, and it's amazing. It's like, why doesn't everybody do this? So yeah. I think Texas does it too. Texas is a very road-friendly state. You know what I mean?
Well, it makes sense because you have a lot of it's right in the middle of the Northeast and the Midwest. It's like it's neither. It's right in the middle, and you have multiple highways going to different parts of the country. It's
right.
Ohio. Yeah, that's why you have a lot of businesses also in Indiana because of the location, right in the middle of the major cities, and not as expensive as it is to be in some other towns. So yeah, that Ohio, Indiana area, they got a lot of business going on.
Yeah, that whole thing, and then you have like Missouri, who is the gateway to the West. You know what I mean? It's a whole fun place. I mean, I love that area of the country. Like, I don't know, I really do, man. I feel like I'm traveling. Like from being from New Jersey, like if you travel to like Pennsylvania or Maryland, it's like, it's Virginia. It's like, it's kind of the same. Once you start going, for me, past Pennsylvania into the Ohios and the Indianas and the Missouris, I feel like I'm traveling. You know what I mean? That's what it is for me. I'm like, yeah, we're doing something.
And for me, the dividing line is, living 18 years basically in New Jersey, 20 years in Chicago, a little Boston, a little North Carolina. I really feel the difference in between Richmond, Virginia, and DC. That is the dividing line for North and South for me. And you're right there, because in DC, you'll get the snow. You'll get the extra cold weather. Down here in the Norfolk area, we went 2 years with no snow. I mean, I've had Christmas Eve. My first Christmas Eve here was 2017, and I can still remember driving to work. I've got the moonroof open in my car. It's 80 degrees. I turn on the radio, and the first song I hear is Dean Martin, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. And I'm like, I am not feeling the Christmas spirit right now, but I'll go with 80 degrees.
I know. It's like the whole thing, like in Florida, like when I've done a few Christmases in Puerto Rico, I used to have a Puerto Rican girlfriend. Her family lived down in Puerto Rico. So we used to fly down there for a few, like 2-3 weeks every year. It was fantastic. Beautiful. They had like these houses, like they had like this valley between two, I guess you can call them mountains, but the whole land, the whole area was theirs. And whenever somebody came of age, they built them a house in that valley. So it was like, it was gorgeous. And they were just tropical. I mean, the first day I was there, like I went out, I said, I'm going to go look for some fruit. They said, oh yeah, there's a bunch of shit. And I went out with a machete. I came back with like a whole thing of bananas and mangoes and papayas. I was like, oh my God, you fucking see what's out there. They're like, hey man, slow down.
I don't think you can bring that stuff back home. I don't think they'd let you bring produce back into the States.
No, I had to eat it. I had to eat it all.
Man.
Coconuts, everything else. I didn't know.
Salad I was 20 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, oh my gosh. I don't know.
I was like 20 years old. I was 20, 21. I didn't know anything.
You make a few Bahama Mamas and pina coladas. Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. I was still drinking too. I was going to cockfights and fucking. But anyway, like when you go down there or you go to I lived in Florida for 15 years. The first impression, like during Christmas, he's like, how the hell can this be Christmas? There's no pine trees and they put lights on palm trees and shit.
Right.
But after a couple of years, it became, you know what? It started to land on me like better. It's like it's harder to achieve and they still do it. You know what I mean? But it takes a minute, man. You know, walking around in 84 degrees on Christmas is weird. I'll tell you what, it's weird. So, all right, let's do this. So, Ohio Jets fan, welcome. I see a fungus among us. That's a rungus among us from what's the band? Guar. Guar, that's the singer of Guar. God rest his soul. I'm happy to see.
Among Us, yeah.
Yeah.
He always puts his best foot forward. A fungus
That's
Among Us. No
that's
doubt about
right.
it. That's right.
So hey, Ohio Jets fan's wife is from Queens. So hey, you got a little in over here. So guys, look, we have this thing like Y2K was saying. Now, in the event they just decide to add another team to even it out, because now it's more difficult to decide. There's going to be ties or whatever the fuck it is, and they need another team to balance it out because of this situation. Now, I think honestly, it's all bullshit, Y2K. I don't think it's happening. I really don't. I think it's just people talking in the same way that Woody Johnson's pissed off and he's going to fire everybody. It's just people talking, right? That's what I think. But let's say it's not. Here's my thoughts on the matter. I'll toss it to you guys in the chat, and then but first, Y2K. Here's what I think. I think the Jets are winning this last game. We're going to get 8 wins. And it's a little bit, just a little shred of positivity for the team to walk into the offseason with. It gets Robert Saleh up to 8 wins. He lost out on the playoffs, but it's still 8 wins. It's more than we've had since 2015. And look, it could be laid out as progress and everything else, right? So I think they're going to do that. And the truth is, Miami's quarterback situation is atrocious. But that doesn't mean that Mike Lennon won't come in and light us up. I mean, weirder stuff has happened to us, right? But I think the Jets are going to win this game, Y2K, handily, unless the playoff man thing is real, in which case the Jets are losing this shit. The Giants, if the playoffs are on the line, and what do we attribute that to? The way I see it is that the Robert Saleh regime doesn't know yet how to handle that. Overthink it, overcomplicate it, freeze, whatever it is that they do. They have not figured out. They figured out how to win games. They figured out how to play hard. They figured out how to play till the final whistle of a game. They figured out a lot of stuff this season. But once the playoffs are kind of on the line, they don't know how to do it. Too much pressure, whatever it is, they crumble to pieces. So if there's no playoff mandate, I think it's a lock. 98% we're winning this game. If this eighth team gets in, I think we lose. What do you think, Y2K? And I'll bounce this to the chat. Let's say it is real. Hypothetically, this is real.
So we have some news.
Do you think we make it?
All right. Well, we have some news, and it started to be reported in the chat. Buffalo versus Cincinnati will not be resumed. That game is canceled. So that ruling is now official. It is possible the AFC Championship game will be held at a neutral site. Okay. So we're getting some late breaking news. I'm trying to find anything I can about this whole playoff situation. But right now, I'm not seeing anything as far as expanding the AFC playoffs, or any of the NFL playoffs to 8 games. Okay, but
so nothing yet.
Nothing yet. But we do know Buffalo Cincinnati is officially canceled. So,
right.
Watch your fantasy rosters accordingly, if that even matters anymore. But it's the AFC Championship game will be played at a neutral site. If the participating teams played an unequal number of games and both could have been the number 1 seed and hosted the game had all AFC clubs played a full 17 games. So, okay. Yeah. So there's a number of situations between Baltimore, Cincinnati, not Baltimore. Yes. They're throwing some Baltimore stuff at Baltimore beats Cincy. But all right, so we're starting to get a little bit of information right now, but there's no perfect solution to this, and we know that. But here's the thing: if they are going to expand the playoffs, two things. Number one, I think you have to do it in both conferences. I don't think it's fair to do it for the AFC and not the
right.
NFC.
Yeah, right, right. It's a good point. Yep.
So hey, maybe Sam Darnold could sneak his way back in the playoffs. You never know.
There you go.
Maybe it can happen. But yeah, and that's number one. But number two, if they're going to expand the playoffs, I mean, my God, it's Thursday night. And you have, I mean, I think the Raiders would technically, wouldn't the Raiders still be in the mix for things, I believe? Or are they? I mean, they're 6-10, so they're probably done because it's like, because then you would only have 1 day's notice. And for the rest of the league, it's basically 2 days' notice that, hey, all of a sudden, hey, you might still have a chance to get back into the playoffs. But here's the thing, GreenBean. The Jets knew that they still had a chance to make the playoffs after they came off their layoff, after everything went their way Christmas weekend when it needed to. It went exactly how they needed it to happen. And they came out as lackadaisical as we have seen them come out all year long. So if this coaching staff and these players couldn't get it right in a full week, why should I believe that they could get it ready to go in 2 days? If it's even worth getting ready for.
That's what I'm telling you. I think that we crush them with, if there's no pressure, it's just the last game of the season, we're going to be loose, kick some ass. If this is real, like, we know that the game's canceled. We know that. But what they do in response has not been officialized. It's just people talking. If it is real and we have kind of, not full control, like you said, we need a couple things to happen, but one of them's likely to happen. The other one, maybe not so much, the Pittsburgh game. But dude, as soon as that it's real, we're gonna lose. We're gonna clinch our butt cheeks are gonna bing, and we're not gonna be able to do anything. We're gonna be like Zach Wilson with 8 seconds in the pocket. We're like, that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna freeze. And it's scary. It's scary to think. Oh, I'm telling you. So who starts at quarterback this week? Let's say it is playoffs. Really.
Okay.
And I see, real quick, I saw a comment that said, I want to find it again. And forgive me if I can't find you. I think it was somebody, Matt. There it is. He doesn't want to get in like this. What do you feel about that, Watch UK? Let's say it happens. Do you have a problem with it? Do you feel the same way as Matt?
You know what? To me, I've been waiting 12 years to see this team back in the playoffs. To me, if you're in, you're in. Now, I'm sure there'll be a couple of naysayers. There'll be fans of certain bases who'll say, you backed into the playoffs. You didn't really make the playoffs. Well, hey, don't poke the sleeping bear, because all it takes, you know what?
That's right.
People were saying for a long time, people don't want to play the Jets. But if the Jets can't get their quarterback thing figured out, and I don't know how they can at this point, because now, if Mike White practiced yesterday but was limited today, that is a bad omen. That's a bad omen. And if, in terms of who's starting, Flacco, Streveler, or GreenBean, that is a great question.
I was limited as well, so you gotta take that into account. They're not going to tell anybody that I'm officially not playing, but it's unlikely. I'm doubtful.
I think if Jeff Smith wasn't hurt, I think I would start him at quarterback and run like the wishbone offense. Run like the triple option.
Yeah. All right. Harry is saying to check the Discord. Let's see. I'm going to go with Harry here. Do you need me? Let's see. Discord. Let's see. Oh my God. You mean this? Harry, I can't. Where is it? I can't do that right now. There's no way. I got to put my glasses on, all kinds of weird stuff. Let's see. Regardless of what's happened, Salah better pull some magic.
Oh, this is fun. If Baltimore defeats Cincinnati and those two clubs are scheduled to play a wild card game against one another, like the 3 versus the 6, the site for that game would be determined by a coin toss. So now we're going like World Cup soccer here. We're deciding shit with coin tosses.
Yeah.
Here's my question: is the coin toss option between Baltimore and Cincinnati, or how about we put the game like in Cleveland or something, just where everybody's just booing the hell out of everybody? That might make it more fun, to be honest.
Well, let me ask you this now. I see Egerton. He just straight up says, "Why would they add another playoff spot?" So what happens? What's the reasoning behind this? Watch UK. You have any idea?
The only thing that really makes sense is that you're not giving a fair opportunity to decide how the standings are going to turn out, because that game was so pivotal and it happened so late in the season that there isn't a chance to make it up later on in the year. It's not like you can reshuffle bye weeks around. Why would they add the playoff? Another chance to make more money for the league for one more game of playoff revenue. That doesn't.
To continue.
I'll be quiet.
What is that? Is that you? Is that you?
I think Bixby got activated on my phone, so that's gonna go quiet.
All right. Well, let me read this to you. Maybe this will answer the question. Canceling the game between the Bills and Bengals creates potential competitive inequities in certain playoff scenarios. In an effort to mitigate those inequities, NFL clubs will consider tomorrow in a special league meeting a resolution recommended by the commissioner and approved today by the competition committee consisting of 2 elements. All right, here we go. Thank you, Harry. This is Harry. I see my first reaction, Harry, is fuck that. And then I go, wait a second. Why don't I read what Harry says? Well, and this is, I think this is Finnegan, Jacob Finnegan, that put it in the Discord. This is the kind of stuff you find in the Beanbagger Discord, all sorts of gems. And if you want to join the Beanbaggers, the link is right in the description. Okay. 1, the AFC Championship game will be played at a neutral site if the participating teams played an unequal number of games, and both could have been the number 1 seed and hosted the game had all AFC clubs had a full 17-game regular season. Interesting. Those circumstances involve Buffalo or Cincinnati qualifying for the game as a road team and are listed below. Scenario 1, Buffalo and Kansas City both win or both tie. A Buffalo versus Kansas City championship game would be at a neutral site.
Okay.
Scenario 2, Buffalo and Kansas City both lose and Baltimore wins or ties. The Buffalo versus Kansas City championship game would be at a neutral site. Scenario 3, where's the Jets? And if the Jets play, I want to see some of that. We don't have any bearing in this.
Not quite.
Not yet. Well, I think maybe later we'll get there.
Buffalo, I could go there. Yeah, I actually just saw this.
And if Robert Saleh starts his 5th quarterback of the year, and we'll not call as many holding penalties.
If we finally activate Jeremy Ruckert, for crying out loud.
I know. I just don't think it's
somebody
happening.
asked Pelissero, because I'm seeing the same tweet you are. Somebody asked Pelissero, are they going to consider in this meeting adding an 8th seed? He came right back and answered the question.
What did he say?
No.
He said no.
He said no. So I think until further notice, we should absolutely not expect an expanded playoff, and that this game is basically irrelevant aside from draft position for the Jets on Sunday.
Yeah, Goodall said, I recognize there is no perfect solution. The proposal we are asking the ownership to consider, however, addresses the most significant potential equitable issue created by the difficult but necessary decision not to play the game under these extraordinary circumstances. So there you go, guys. It ain't happening. So, hey, Matt, you didn't want to get in this way. It looks like you're going to get your wish. There it is.
Wait till next year, boys and girls.
Yeah. Ronald Perry says, we lose 5 games straight. We don't deserve the playoffs. But even if we won one and it got us in, I'd say we deserve it.
Hey, Ronald,
I say we deserve it because of all the shit we've dealt with for fucking 15 years, man. Right?
Hey, Ronald, I got a question for you. Take a look at Miami's schedule. They won their first 3, lost their next 3. They won their next 5, and now they've lost 5 in a row. Do they not deserve to go to the playoffs either?
Yeah, I think, I mean, look, I get the sentiment, you know what I mean? And look, the truth is numerically, we don't. That's why they have this number system, we don't deserve the playoffs. That said, we are a good team. And I am a firm believer, while I don't think this rebuild is done and like this was supposed to be the year, I don't think any of that stuff. I do maintain that if we got, whether it was Zach, Mike White, Streveler, Flacco. Remember in the beginning when we were talking about if Flacco plays really well in Cincinnati, you can't bench him. Remember that conversation? If we got 65% completion percentage and more touchdowns and interceptions, I think we would be in the playoffs. That's what I think. That's the great differentiator. Yes, the offensive line needs work. Yes, the injuries caught up with us. Yes, Breece Hall changed everything. You know what I mean? We had to kind of pivot and find a way to get that same production, and we never quite matched it. We got some good games, whether it was Michael Carter 1 week, and then we got Bam Knight came out of like a cannon. We got the 1 week with James Robinson. So we were able to do some stuff, but we never quite matched, what Breece Hall was doing. You know what I mean? So, look, even with all that, I still maintain that if we had 65% instead of 55% completion percentage, I think we go to the playoffs. I think it's that, like, the line is that close, Y2K. Like, I think the Vikings game, the second Buffalo game, obviously either one of the Patriots games, the Detroit Lions game, all those kinds of things. Like, think about this. If we didn't have an entire third and fourth quarter until the last 3 minutes of complete ineptitude, if we got on a few more points, it's a different game. And we win, you know what I mean? So the line is really fine. And it's not excuses. It's just, an acknowledgement of reality. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. I mean, I think we kind of knew. A lot of people were saying, you know what? We should not be getting blown out this year. We should be competitive in a lot of games.
Right.
But when you have such a young roster and you have such a young coaching staff, there's going to be growing pains. But where we got suckered in is they were finding ways to win games that we couldn't believe that they were winning. Before the start of the season, there were many of us thought, going to Denver, going to Green Bay, there's no way to win. How are the Jets ever going to win those games?
Totally.
But they did. And then, when you get to 7-4, your expectations change. And yes, the expectations absolutely should have been making the playoffs.
Totally.
And you know what? Yeah, they lost their two best offensive players. I don't think there's any question about that. And they were never able to rediscover their offensive identity and pivot. It never, ever happened. Now, if you want to put that on the coach, you can. The offensive coordinator, you can. To me, the blame goes all around, and also to the captains on this team for not having this team ready to play the last two games, especially the Seattle game. I was upset over the Jacksonville game, but I can't say I was shocked because of the quick turnaround after losing to Detroit. It didn't shock me that they lost that game. But for them to come out, and I said this on my video, as lifeless, as listless, and as unprepared as they appeared to be against the team that, in my opinion, was very much on their level, that had come in losing 5 of 6 games, that was coming in the playoff picture, but on the outside. This was a game, and hey, there are a lot of ex-Seahawks on this team too. People talked about how personal the game was for Geno and for Pete Carroll. Well, they didn't talk about DJ Reed, George Fant, Dwayne Brown, or the other people who have experience with that franchise. And they played it after the Jets' first drive. I mean, deep down, you knew that it was going to be like climbing freaking Mount Kilimanjaro to win that game. The touchdown to start off, and they had, like I said in the video, tight ends I've never heard of in my life coming out of the stands to make catches. Who the hell was Tyler Mabry?
I'm telling you.
Who is that?
Yeah. And I agree with you, man. I mean, we came out, it's like, it wasn't losing. We didn't lose the game. We came out as if we didn't want to play it. That's the difference. And that's on coaching. And I think you made a good point. It's also on the leadership, on the play. Like, where do we look? You know what I mean? Like, so I think it can be attributed. It's mainly the coaches, but even to as well, but to a lesser degree, the leadership, man. So Jason Edwards agrees with you. He says, Y2K or WA2K, you're right. However, I have faith. I don't know what you're right about. You know what he's
maybe he was still referring to the playoffs, maybe, but yeah.
Oh,
now that we know, that's what's broken the faith, unfortunately. So.
He says, just get in. I don't care. I know, I'm with you, Jay. I really am, man. Like, that's where I stand. I totally get it, but it's like, you know what? People said that in 2009. I don't know if a lot of people don't remember this. And this is, the details get lost from year to year. Nobody cares like how it happened, or nobody cares that the team you played was on their backup quarterback. Like, no one cares that there were more penalties here than there. No one cares. If they care in the moment, a week, 2 weeks, a year, no one cares, right? So in 2009, there was a lot of hubbub about the Colts. We needed to beat the Colts in order to get in. And the Colts benched Peyton Manning and started Painter.
Right. They played Peyton into the second, I think it was into early in the second half. And, the Colts were a little bit ahead. And then they put in Curtis Painter. And I remember the big block punt in that game that the Jets had. You remember the block punt from that game?
I don't. I remember. I don't. Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, that was one of the big turning points of that game. But yeah, if it wasn't for that game, nobody to this day would know who Curtis Painter is.
Right. What the fuck? All right, here we go.
Hello.
I'm just going to show you guys something here. If you guys remember, this is what it was like after the Cleveland game in Cleveland.
What the fuck is happening?
This guy. This guy.
Fuck, you lose that game. Up 13 points with like a minute 15 left to the New York Jets.
See, that's how they think of us, everybody. That's how it is. So you got to take it when it comes, man. You know what I mean? You don't like if there's a scrap of beef coming, you don't go, I don't want beef. I don't want that. You eat it. You know what I mean? If you're hungry, you eat it, dude. And we're hungry.
You never know when it's coming your way again, man.
That's right. You just never know. So yeah, man. I mean, look, I think there's an argument to be made that the Jets are fine. I'm serious, man. Like, look, we look every year. There's going to be adjustments. I think for the first time in a very, very long time, we can honestly say that we have some semblance of a core. Now, obviously, the Zach Wilson pick being a bust is a major blow, major. But again, there's an argument to be made that the core is here. You let this coaching staff learn from their mistakes, build off of this, continue, get a quarterback that all you need is 65% completion percent. That's it. You get that and you have a chance to win any single game. The fact that our defense held pretty much everybody to 30 points or less outside of like 2 games. I think the Vikings game, they had 30 something. I just forget. But, but I mean, largely, the defense played very, very well this year, if imperfect. There were many stretches where they couldn't get off the field, but they did that bend, don't break thing. And look, again, it's not like this was supposed to be the year. Dude, they played hard. They did a good job. Now, the fact that all of our losses came in one stretch is, again, you can't get past it. It's a huge, huge shot. It really is. And it's disappointing and just everything negative that you can say, it's all real. But the truth is that this team is better than many teams that we've had, and it looks like it's on the up. And that's it. And
there is a foundation to build on. This is not a draft where you're just going, okay, best player available no matter what the position.
Right.
We know what our specific needs are now. And it's interesting how they keep evolving over the course of the year. It's like week 2, okay, I need a linebacker, a wide receiver, a safety, a right guard, and a long snapper. You get that sort of a post. And then the next week it changes. And then it changes again. And so in an offseason where we only have 6 draft picks, okay, it's not going to be the same as we had before. Maybe JD considers trading down. Maybe it's worth a thought. But we have that, and we have some cap room, but we don't have a ton of cap room. This is going to be more about maintaining what they have and bringing back, those healthy players and getting a quarterback, a vet quarterback. This is the phrase I'm going to keep using until they get him. I want the hired gun. I want the quarterback who's ready to step in and say, here, I'm ready. I needed you. You needed me. This is the marriage. Let's go win.
Yeah.
And to me, Carr's the guy.
I'm with you.
I like Garoppolo, but Carr's the guy I'm looking at.
Right. Well, the Garoppolo thing, he'd be great if it wasn't for the injuries. Honestly, I'd be fine with him. With his level of play, I'd be fine with it. But I'm with you, man. It's like you don't have to swing for the fences. You need somebody who can consistently run the offense and get the ball into your playmakers' hands. That's why Mike White was so refreshing, because that's all he did. I mean, after the first game, what did Robert Saleh say? He makes the
easy look easy.
And that's right. Now, as you get up to the Chiefs and, a championship, of course, you need to build off that. You need to be able to perform in high pressure situations and all that stuff. But underneath all that, guys, we just need a team that can run. And when you have a quarterback who quite literally cannot get the ball to his receivers or running backs 5 to 10 yards away. There's no way to overcome that. No matter how well the defense plays, no matter how talented Garrett Wilson is, it doesn't matter. Like, you just can't do anything. And then from that, again, we talked about this a million times. Then they bring 8, 9 in the box. They're taking away any possibility of the running game getting going, and it's over. It's a wrap. So if we have a quarterback, just like you said, and we need a hired gun, this whole shit of developing a guy here, maybe we can develop him. If he's like a 3rd-round pick and he's second string, 3rd string for a couple years, fine. Develop him like that. But you cannot develop him putting him out front from the word go. It just doesn't work here, dude. We're venomous murderer. Like, we're like the Axeman, what are we? The executioner. We're like waiting with the axe. Come on, motherfucker. You one interception. Like, that's what we're waiting for. We're more inclined to boo someone than we are to support them through a difficult time. It's just who we are. You know what I mean? Right or wrong. It's been proven time and time again. And the truth is, man, is that we've suffered for a long ass time. We just need, bring Derek Carr in here. And if it's not Derek Carr, look, if you can swing Aaron Rodgers, great. If it's Jimmy G, I'm really disappointed. But dude, honest to God, I'd be happy with Gardner Minshew. Dude, he's going into his 5th year. He's on his rookie contract right now. People forget that. He's got it is. It feels like he's been in the league forever.
I feel like he's been here as long as Fitzpatrick, for crying out loud.
I know, but right. It's like, but he's literally on his 4th year. Wow. He's got a career 64 point whatever percent completion percentage. The 2 years that he started, he has way more interceptions, like 2-to-1 touchdowns to interceptions. Now, you don't have to love him, but again, if you're not asking him to go out there and like win the games, just function within the offense. We have enough talented playmakers, just get it to their hands. I think Gardner Minshew would be fine too.
Okay.
I'd be happy with it.
I'll give you 2 names that we talked about last night that Jeremy Buffalo Jets fan Dom and I did bring up. And they don't have the upside, but if you're looking for like holdovers for maybe like 2 years or so and still give yourself some money to work with, there are 2 names that I think are interesting, and I'd be curious to hear what you think. One of them is Jameis Winston, and the other is Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
Does one of those appeal to you?
No. And I'll tell you why. Jameis Winston, for all of his talents and ability, he was jettisoned from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they went right to the Super Bowl. Now, Tom Brady, of course, and the whole thing. But Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich, both of them are known as guys that can find it inside. Right. They're known for it, man. And neither one of those guys, they got 33 touchdowns out of them. They also got 33 interceptions out of him. So it's one of those scenarios where there's no denying his talent, but dude, he's got that bug. You know what I mean? He's just whatever. Again, Bruce Arians he thought he wanted to move on. If he had a young stud that can move, that can throw, they would have kept him. You know what I mean? They wouldn't have been looking in another direction. That's my, and I don't know, I haven't kept up with how he's doing this year, but Winston freaks me out. It's like another guy that's not good enough. You know what I mean? He's not, I don't know. It just seems like a bad move. Now, Jacoby Brissett, I would really love Jacoby Brissett as like the number 2. Like hypothetically, we move on from Mike White, Joe Flacco, and all those guys, and we bring in 2 new quarterbacks. We got a starter and a backup. Or, Jacoby Brissett to me is the perfect guy. He can come in for 1, 2, 3 games and play at a good enough level. He can win them. He's played in the NFL and he's played well. He's a perfect number 2 for me. And I think Zach should be a developmental guy for this whole season. That's what if you're going to keep Zach, don't even have the threat, for lack of a better word, of him having to play. Just let him know, be nice and comfy, put on your fucking wigwam shoes and your big fluffy knee socks and just learn the game. Just reset, dude, for the whole year. 3 weeks isn't a reset. A year, like a calendar year, is a reset. And I think that could be good with him. And I'd love to get, imagine, dude, we bring in Derek Carr and we get a Jacoby Brissett as backup. Like, come on. Now we're talking.
Boy, that's been. I'll tell you, if that happens, you're not keeping Zach as a 3. If that happens, Zach's going to have to go because Zach's not going to be a number 3.
Zach can't go.
As a 3. No,
Zach can't go.
If that happens, maybe you draft like somebody in the 5th or 6th round as your 3rd quarterback, or pick up somebody on the.
Yeah, but Zach can't go. So what's your solution to Zach? No, but if nobody wants him, what if everybody goes when you ask to trade?
Well, you can't cut him. If you just look at what the cap hit would be, it would be stupid business to just cut Zach Wilson. It's not an option. To me, it's hard for me to envision a scenario where he is not on the roster this year. I think White is going to be gone after this season. I don't think you can't have Wilson and White as your 1 and 2 either way, coming into this season. This is not a developmental team. This is a team that is ready to not only contend for a playoff spot, but I think actually make a run in the playoffs with a little bit of fine tuning. The problem is one of your foundational pieces is a complete mystery right now. For me, I could envision Carr, Wilson, and then put in just any third quarterback that you want. Shoot, put Streveler in as the 3rd quarterback. Not that I need to see him on the field. Hopefully GreenBean still has power.
I didn't see that. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. I'm here. Hold on a second.
Okay.
You can keep talking. We're safe. We're good.
Yeah, I think I'm Carr, Wilson, and then fill in anybody you want for super cheap as the 3rd quarterback. If they had that, I would roll. I would be comfortable rolling with that offense.
Yeah, I mean, look, I hear you. I get it. I agree in many respects. But the thing is, I think that Zach is, I don't think anybody's going to look. If anybody can get it done, it's Joe Douglas. And I have a secret little hope. Like my number one hope for this offseason is that McDaniels thinks that the Jets are slapdick and he can take Zach Wilson. He loved them coming out.
Oh.
He can take them, and he'll be willing to take them, and we can do the flip flop and whatever else is involved. Sprinkle this little picks here, another player there, whatever it has to be.
Here, yep.
Yeah, because look, the truth is Derek Carr's 7 years older as far as NFL years. He's 7 years older, and he costs $23 million more per year. So then that's some stuff. You have to factor that in. Zach is significantly cheaper, but the other thing is that Zach also has sucked. You know what I mean? He's played really poorly. So, and Derek Carr has played well. So, whatever the equalizer is there, maybe they just do an even swap. Would you do an even swap for Derek Carr?
Carr for Wilson straight up?
Yeah, Carr for Wilson straight up.
Yeah, like you said, there would be a few other factors in there, whether it's picks, players, money, whatever the case may be. But in terms of just the player, would I make the swap? Absolutely. I would make that swap.
I think I would too. All right. So, hey, Hexen joining the Stream Beaners. Thank you, Hexen. And guys, we are now one Stream Beaner away from new set of emojis. If you guys know, if you listened, I've been telling people, what I learned when I created this YouTube specific membership to the live streams, the Stream Beaners, it's only one tier. You're in or you're out. What I learned is that there are only so many emoji spots until you get more members. It's like I'm even on trial here. Like I have to prove I can get more members before they let me have emojis. But I have a whole bunch of emojis made. If you can see here, I put one in there. I got a freeze bean. I have an updated freeze bean. I have some Fireman Ed stuff. I got some, I changed the Facebook thumb to a Facebook. Yeah, I did some of that. I got all kinds of fun emojis made that'll help us express ourselves in the chat. But I'm at my max, so I need a couple more members before I can add some. Isn't that weird? I thought I could just have them. Why can't I have emoji spots, man? It's crazy.
Because YouTube makes whatever rules they want, and we just have to obey them because where the heck else are we going to go?
That's right. Well, we could go to what's the other one I'm a member of? Odyssey. Odyssey's completely everything I do on YouTube goes directly to Odyssey, and it's like completely it's free of all that stuff. Like it's run by the people or whatever, but nobody watches it. That's the big problem over there. I mean, how many times in the chat have you ever gone to Odyssey to watch a GreenBean video? And no, you know what I mean? So,
I hadn't heard of it until 60 seconds ago, if I'm being quite honest about it.
It's funny, Frankie told me about it before he was Frankie from Flatbush, when he was just Frankie Markopoulos audiobooks. Remember, he was just a guy in the chats. And he told me, he said, hey, you might want to think of this and blah, blah, blah. It was really, he helped me out. But anyway, thank you, Hexen. And then, guys, if you do want to join the Stream Beaners, the button is right below the videos. And if you want to join the Bean Baggers, we do lots of stuff with that. We do classic game rewinds where we all get together in a Zoom room and watch classic games. We do all 22 breakdowns. The tier 3s get a spot on the Thursday Thick of It. They also get a t-shirt, all kinds of stupid shit that we do. You get mentioned in the videos and all that kind of stuff. And look, the truth is it helps support the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Either one of those are great, but the Stream Beaners applies directly to this video and all of my live streams. So, okay, let's see. Jason Edwards checking back in, but thank you, Hexen. Let's see. He says, trade back in the draft for extra picks. Well, we don't know where we are yet, so let's see if we can even trade back very far. A team's number 1, another 2, and a 3. JD needs to work magic with his limited cap space and restructuring contracts. Well, let me ask you, Watsuke. Let's say, hypothetically, right now we're around 13. I've seen 11. I've seen 13, right?
We're 13 right now.
We're 13. Let's say we end up around 15, 16.
Okay.
You into trading back, or do you think, hey, that's pretty far back? I want to make sure I still get a potential blue chipper. 15 is kind of where the blue chippers are drying up in many instances. What do you think? If you got a nice, sweet offer, you're not going to get 3 firsts or anything like that, but you get a nice offer. You into trading back, or you just want to, I need quality?
Without having major breakdowns already on the players, the prospects, and figuring out what the strengths of this draft are, what the weaknesses of this draft are, especially in the first round. And over the next couple of months, we will definitely do that. To me, I'm not quite so sure that I want to trade back. If we're going to be in around 15 or so, now you always have to have the counter to that. Why is a team moving up? Now, there are some quarterbacks. Is there a team in the back of the first round or even at the beginning of the second round that's going to come up for a quarterback who didn't make that pick in the first round? So, I mean, it's easier to imagine that, I think, happening in maybe the top 10. But when you start getting to 15 to 20, seems a little bit more far-fetched of an idea. But to me, this team has a lot of good pieces in place. And it's a scenario where the picks you make, you got to make them count. I'm a little bit more right now. I wasn't as much last year, but this year I'm more quality than I am quantity, and that wasn't the case the last couple of years. My draft philosophy has shifted considering where the Jets are right now. Yeah, well, I actually can second that. And don't forget that the contracts now come into play as well. Like the whole thing that Joe Douglas did, and did very, very well, by the way, was he looked at the team, he took a year, evaluated everybody. We had certain pillars. We had Leo, we had Jamal, we had Sammy, and, Jordan Jenkins. Like we had a bunch of guys here that the previous regime thought were foundational pieces. Joe Douglas, after one season, said they're not. These guys are not foundational pieces for what I want to build. So he got value for him. He got a 3rd and a 5th for Leo. He got 2 firsts and an upgrade from a 4th to a 3rd for Jamal. He got a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th for Sammy. So he brought in all this value. Avery Williamson for a 5th, on and on and on and on and on. He squeezed every bit of value out of this organization that he could. Every bit. And he built a new foundation. Now you can't have 3 firsts every year. Like you can't do it. Like you'll never be able to maintain it. It's actually healthier now to settle it back down. And like Y2K is saying, go for quality. So you got 1 pick in the first, 1 pick in this, and you make them count. They're exactly what you need. So you're at pick 15. All the offensive tackles are taken that are worth that pick, but you need a free safety and you need a defensive tackle, let's say. And the best defensive tackle is still on the board. You grab them and you put them on your team. Then you get to the second round and, so the offensive tackles were all taken up top, but now the next tier is there. You grab one.
You see what I'm saying? And you make them count. Now, I'm not averse to a trade back if he can get something, maybe an extra second, or maybe even next year, right? You get another second round pick for next year, that kind of stuff. As long as it doesn't, like Maccagnan would move all over the place and it made no sense. Like I think it was the Sam Darnold year. Maybe I think he traded back in the fourth like 3 times, and all he got at the end of the day was a 10 or 15 pick jump in the 5th round. That's all he got out of all of it. It was crazy. Like, what the fuck? Just pick somebody, man. Just pick up. You're in the 4th round. Like, what are you doing? And he moved for the sake of moving. It's like he wanted to make it look like he was doing, like, I'm working the system, man. I don't know. But it was ultimately ridiculous, and it netted us with very, very little. And he ended up taking Trevon Wesco with the pick, which is fine, of course. But we needed a center desperately. We had no center, none to speak of, and he's drafting tight ends after lots of move. Now, Joe Douglas, on the other hand, if he can move back a little bit, gain another 3rd, gain another 4th, or something like that. We already know that the last 2 drafts, Joe Douglas has figured out how to have a good shot of finding talent that can actually contribute. Let's look at the last couple years in the 4th and 5th round. He's got Sherwood, who's been an amazing special teams player. When he's come in on defense, he's really looking like this guy can be something, right? He came in for CJ Mosley for 3 plays. He made all 3 tackles. Last week, he came in for a handful of plays. He made 4 tackles. All of them were solo tackles. He's good in coverage. So you got Jamie and Sherwood. Then you got like Pinnock. Pinnock, I wish he was on our team, but clearly he's NFL caliber player. He's a safety. He was drafted as a cornerback, but doesn't matter. He made it as a safety, and he's looking pretty good. We took a shot, and letting him go, and it blew up in our face. But the talent is there. And then you get Michael Carter II, right? Fantastic pick, in my opinion, right? Hamza Nasruddin, we don't know yet, right? He's playing, I'd say moderate special teams-ish
kind of guy, but not a big difference maker. But when it's a pick that late, you don't expect much anyway.
Yeah, and I haven't seen too much from him one way or the other. I see his name here and there. I don't know. He's not, but that's one. But then you got Jonathan Marshall, who you look whoever the Pittsburgh Steelers, was it? Who was it?
Pittsburgh loves taking our defensive linemen.
Yeah,
they took Rashid also. Didn't I think it was Rashid they took? Was it?
I don't remember.
It was Rashid. Yeah, they took Rashid because we kept Tanzel Smart. But
Hamilcar Rashid.
Yep.
How's he doing? Did he do anything?
I haven't heard anything, unlike Pinnock, so I haven't heard too much about Rashid. But
interesting. But yeah, I mean, look. So the point is that he was here for 2 years. Jonathan Marshall. He was perfect pipeline guy. He was definitely going to compete for a role on the 53 next year. He got plucked. It is what it is. It happens. But then you look at this year too, man. You look at. Ruckert, we don't know, but we all love him. I think I have a lot of confidence that he's going to be a bona fide NFL, player. I think he's going to be very, very good. I don't know what the deal is with him right now, but I think I don't have too much concern that when he comes in, he's going to be an impact player. But then you look at Mitchell and Michael Clemens. I mean, is there any question?
Oh, my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. By the way, Rashid has not seen the field yet this season, so I wouldn't exactly call that a heartbreaking waivers loss.
Well, did Jonathan Marshall? I mean, because the thing is, when you pluck somebody from a practice squad, you got to put him on the active 53. Did he get any time? Did he do anything?
Well, check it out. It was a recent claim that they made. It was only a couple of weeks ago.
And while you're doing that, A Fungus Among Us is the newest stream beaner. Thank you. Hopefully I can add another emoji now. I'd like to see you guys throw some of these emojis up. I got a Fireman Ed. I think I put up a green bean, a gnome bean, freeze bean, angry bean, I think. And we got a sauce jar, a bottle, all kinds of stuff. I got so many that I made for you guys. Every time I can add one, I'm gonna. But thank you. It helps the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you have a little bit of fun with it, man. That's my ultimate hope.
So they signed
guys.
Marshall. Yeah, so the Steelers signed Marshall on December 13th. So by rule, he has to stay on the 53-man roster for 3 weeks minimum, and he has not played yet. And the 3 weeks actually just elapsed yesterday. So yeah,
Really?
there may be some Marshall news coming out, but he has not played yet for Pittsburgh. Has not had a snap yet.
So you said what happened yesterday with him?
So once you sign a player off the opposing practice squad, he has to be on the 53-man roster for 3 weeks minimum.
Right.
That 3-week period of time elapsed yesterday. So they have to make a decision if they're going to keep him or what they're going to do.
They put him on the practice squad. Grab him back. Say, how dare you? We've been developing him for 2 years.
We got a lot of free agent defensive tackles coming up, man. So, I mean, outside of Quinnen, I mean, think Rankins, Thomas, Shepard, they're all going to be free agents. So,
yeah,
that is the position where we're going to be looking for a starter because they'll play JFM there a little bit. They'll play him there maybe 20-25% of his snaps, but they don't look at him as a full-time defensive tackle. It's just something
they look at him as a defensive end, which is weird to me, dude. It's weird to me. Again, hey, he does some nice things, so it's not going to say he's completely inept. But he doesn't seal the edge very well, in my opinion, and I think he's significantly more effective on the inside, but I don't know. They don't seem to think that. Now, Dom C checking in. What's up, Dom? Good to see you, buddy. He says, Hamilcar Rashed was cut by Pittsburgh after tearing his Achilles, and Jonathan Marshall has not been active yet for Pittsburgh. So he's on the 53, but he hasn't been dressing, I imagine, is what it is. So, right. So maybe they cut him. Maybe they bounce him down to the practice squad and we scoop him back up. We'll scoop him up, put him on the active 53 for a week. Why not? Fuck it. Let him play. I mean,
the season's almost over anyway, so we got to find out what the rules are. But hey, I signed to a futures contract or a reserve contract, all the little lingo of these crazy contracts you could sign during the playoffs. So, yeah.
All kinds of fun stuff. Now, it's like, look, as far as the defensive line, I do think that we're going to make an attempt at bringing Sheldon Rankins back. I think maybe Nathan Shepard, too. I mean, they seem to like him. If he's cheap, you bring him in. And, he knows the system. He's here. He's one of the guys. He's kind of developing into somewhat of a leader. Don't forget, when Quinnen Williams was about to bend his defensive line coach in half, it was Nathan Shepard and I think Solomon Thomas. Those were the guys that really stood up and did something about it. JFM just sat there and said, kill him, man. So anyway, I mean, these guys are kind of looked at as leaders. They're vets. And this is, Nathan Shepard is along with Quinnen. And I mean, is there anybody else from McCagnon? I don't think there's anybody else.
Thomas Hennessy. Can't forget the great Thomas Hennessy.
McCagnon did Hennessy.
He got Hennessy. Yeah.
I thought that was
Q. It was Quinnen, CJ, Hennessy, Shepard. I think that's the final four. Literally the final four.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I thought he was before McCagnon. Anyway, that's
he might. He might have been, but
I thought he was. I don't say that with any real confidence. So some guy says, what happens if the Jets are sitting at 10 or 13, wherever we're sitting, and CJ Stroud falls to them, Y2K? You think they just say, fuck it, and they grab him?
Hennessy, by the way, came in 17, so that was McCagnon.
Okay.
It was definitely McCagnon.
Right on.
I can't. It is very hard for me to imagine going back to a rookie quarterback scenario with this team. I mean, you have to have full confidence that this guy's going to come in and be, you name the guy, Marino, whatever rookie quarterback, Matt Ryan, whatever good rookie quarterback you want to name, Ben Roethlisberger, that is what it would take. And I would have absolutely no grace period for a rookie quarterback in that situation. It is very hard for me to imagine it happening. Seeing him fall to number 10, if the Jets get to number 10, that takes a couple things happening. But I can't imagine. Number one, you do that, you're admitting you're giving up on Zach Wilson. Is Joe willing to do that?
It does. No matter hell or high water, nothing. You're giving if you draft first-round quarterback. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll tell you some guy. I don't think so. Get Minshew and get Stroud. Go get Reich. And McDaniel, when he's fired. Dude, if we beat the Finns, man, they're going to fire McDaniel. The crazy.
Oh, Stephen Ross is nuts. Stephen Ross is the new George Steinbrenner, except no championships.
Right.
He
Except no
is
winning.
nuts. Not Steve Cohen. It's Stephen Ross. That's the George Steinbrenner. Oh, my gosh.
I'll tell you what, though, not for nothing.
All right.
If he does get fired, going and scooping him up. I mean, he'd probably want to go back to the Niners, just go right back, but bring him over here, man. Let's get the band back together over here. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
I would like it.
Hey, I'll buy him the hair gel myself, whatever kind he wants. If it helps to bring him in to help develop a quarterback, Mike, I'll buy you the hair products. You got it, man.
Yeah, I like it too. Kareem Carson says Sheldon's got to come back. He's an underrated part of the defensive side. I agree. And don't forget, Quinnen said as much. He said, like, that's our leader, man. That's the guy. We look to him.
I don't think
and he's been this is his best year. It's his best year. In the
no
last
player
few.
surprised me more pleasantly than Sheldon Reichens. He was the best surprise of the season, in my opinion. I don't know if I could think of another one, really. He was that good.
Yeah. Now, this is a good point, and then we're going to get to the trivia. We'll see what's going on. But Kev Chan, a great point. If he does fall to us, if Stroud falls to us, that's a really good place to trade because then they're not giving away 3 firsts to get into the top 5. It's just like, you can do a modest trade, but a good one, and you can talk somebody into coming up and giving you some value for that pick, and then you go back a few spots and you take your big fat defensive tackle there or your left tackle, whoever it is that you want, getting a first round free safety, real good ball hawking free safety, maybe that can lay some wood if he needs to, would be real nice. A just space eating defensive tackle would be fantastic. A linebacker would be really good, but I think Sherwood is. I really do. I think Sherwood is the guy. He'll be going into his 3rd year. That's exactly what you want, man. Pipeline guys, developmental. They're dominating on special teams, ready to come in. I think he's going to have a role, but drafting a linebacker would be great too, like a snarler. Watch UK. Somebody just fucking wants to eat people for lunch. You know what I mean? Like we need those young legs, sideline to sideline kind of stuff.
Handle that coverage, handle those short passes, those tight ends. I don't want any more of these no-name tight ends and running backs beating us out of the backfield and beating us on 3rd down. It's time to stop that. We have a good defense. It's a good defense. They can rush the passer and they can cover on the outside. Now it's time to address the middle of the field, which I feel like the Jets have been trying to do for the last 2 decades.
I know. I was just happy to see them finally take a premium edge rusher. Now you could again, my pick was George Karlaftis if Hutchinson wasn't there. He's playing fine too. He's doing well. I think he has 5.5 sacks, a bunch 10 tackles for a loss, something like that. So he's having himself a good season. But I think it's all kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other kind of a thing. They're both having kind of an equal-ish rookie season. I'm very happy with Jermaine Johnson. I think that he should get an increased role. I think we'll see more production from him.
He will.
I
will.
like him.
He will, and Bryce will, because you're saving $15 million if you cut Carl Lawson and you only take, I think, a $333,000 cap hit by cutting him. It's not that Carl Lawson has had a bad season, but when you need to create more, this doubles their cap space. It takes it from $15 million to $30 million.
Right, just like that.
So just like that. So with all due respect to number 58, I like him, but I would like to keep Bryce Huff and give Jermaine Johnson more of a role on this defense. And I think he'll get similar production.
Well, and how much is the cap going up this year? Is that including what the prospected cap increase?
Well, I checked over that's a good question. We'd have to look at that. But I know on over the cap, the current expected space is $15 million for the Jets as of right now, before you get into restructuring and cuts and doing your draft and all of this. So it's a very easy $15 million because you have such a small cap hit. And hey, again, credit to Joe Douglas for creating these contracts that they can get out of if that's what they want to do.
That's right. And not for nothing, we could add another $11 million by getting rid of Corey Davis like that. So with 2 guys,
that's a tougher replacement, though. That's the thing.
Is.
We got a pipeline of defensive linemen. We don't have it at wide receiver. Denzel, I know we can have a Denzel Mims debate. We don't have to. We don't have to do that. But that's the only option.
I think he's fine. I think Denzel Mims is fine. Gives you the same production. He drops less balls if they hit him in his hands. Fucking look. I like Corey Davis and all, but again, and he's technically speaking cheap for what he is, but I don't know. Anyway, so guys, let's get to the. I got that still up there. Let's get to the trivia. Rules of the trivia is as follows. Watu2K is going to ask us a question. We can answer it in the chat. I don't have any other partners here to answer with me, so I will try to answer it. You guys will try to answer it. The request is that you don't use any search engines or cheat Encyclopedia Britannica or any of that shit. And we have 4 minutes to see if we get it. We're doing all right. I think we're more touchdowns and interceptions. We might have a 70% completion percentage, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely true. I've been getting you the last couple weeks, though. I've been getting the group a little bit better.
Nice.
Kept going up another 18 to 20 million. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you.
Well, look at that real quick. So it's going up well, he's just saying, like, in addition to that, it should go up another 18 to 20 million. That helps too. So even if we have, let's say we cut Carl Lawson, we got 30, that brings us up to 50 million just like that. And now we can do anything we want. Okay, good. Watu2K, thank you, Dom. What do we have in store for us today?
Well, I try to give topical questions with the Jets' upcoming opponent, but the Jets have the Miami Dolphins this week. And we can always ask a bunch of Dolphins questions. So we're going to go a little different direction. We're going to talk college today. We have the upcoming championship game. We've got TCU against Georgia, I believe it is. And we're going to talk about those Texas Christian University Horned Frogs. Did you know? I know. We're tied in TCU here. That's right. That's what we're going to do. Your job tonight is name the 2 players the Jets drafted from TCU who played 100 or more NFL games. And your time starts now.
Now, what is the time frame? Do we have any time frame?
We'll just say 1970, the common draft era. We're not going to the 12, 13 eras, but I will say they're not names that you've never heard of. I can assure you.
Okay, TCU. I honestly, let me think here. I'm thinking there was a wide receiver is in my brain.
They're both, I'll say this, 1980 or later. So there's nothing in the 60s, nothing in the 70s on this one.
Okay. Tyson Manning says Tom Tupa, no?
No, Tom Tupa, the Jets didn't draft Tom Tupa.
All right, we got 2 Jeremy Curleys, 3 Jeremy Curleys.
This is where y'all are going to hate me. Jeremy Curley went to TCU. However, he only played 99 NFL games.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I know. I know that's bad, man. Yeah, I know that's bad.
Glenn. Wait, so which Glenn? And not Aaron Glenn, right? Aaron Glenn and Ray Mickens. Is that accurate?
No, they did not go to Georgia.
Let's see.
I see a correct answer in the chat.
Kyle Clifton.
There
he
Kyle
goes.
Clifton went there. Yep.
Very nice. My Lawrence 24. Very, very nice. Jeremy Curley was close, but no Seagar. How about no Klecko was Temple, right?
Temple, 6th round. Yep, Temple.
Mickens was Texas A&M. Dom says. How about Jermaine Johnson? I mean, he played for Georgia. He doesn't have 100 games though.
Yeah, we're talking about TCU, not Georgia.
All right, so just TCU. Marshall Harris.
I'm not even sure that's a real player.
Might be. Marcel Harris. That's who
Marcel Harris. Oh,
yeah,
Marcel Harris. Yeah, was not drafted as a Jet. Yeah.
Drew Coleman. Either one.
Nope, not Drew Coleman.
No.
I see. He went to Michigan.
Harris?
He went to Michigan.
Okay.
I'll give you one hint.
Okay.
This guy has been the answer to one of our trivia questions before. So if you listen before, we brought this guy's name up during the season. And I'll say it was somewhere between 1980 and 2000. So it was in that 80s, 90s.
Altoon.
It is not Altoon. I think he went to Wisconsin. Mo Lewis, it is not Mo Lewis.
Okay.
I think he went to Georgia. Mo Lewis is a Georgia guy.
John Booty.
John Booty. That's
Really?
it.
Get
That's
out
right.
of here.
It's John Booty.
G named Reagan.
Wow.
G named Reagan. There it is.
I had to
Well
give you a little
done.
help, yeah, with Glenn not here. But wait, the G and G named Reagan, is the G stand for Glenn?
Yeah, right. That's who it is. Glenn named Reagan. Glenn Reagan. That's who it is. So yeah, man, not
Kyle
bad.
Clifton and John Shake Your Booty. Those are the two that went to TCU, drafted by the Jets, that played 100 games or more in the NFL. And Jeremy Curley finished one shy at 99.
Well, there you go. We did it, guys. We did it, and I'm very, very proud of you. I am not convinced we didn't use a search engine to find John Booty. That's a deep dive, man. So whatever it is, but we did it. Nice booty call, right, Hank? Exactly. Hey, Wyatt, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. So before we wrap this up, I will remind you a couple of things. You can really hit that like button without much of an issue. It helps the channel a great deal. If you haven't subscribed, we are right around 80 away from my goal of 10,000. We're only 5 days past the mark. So if we can do it in the next week, I'm still going to feel really, really good about it. And I'll give another t-shirt away. Before that, be right when we get to 10,000, I'll give another t-shirt away, and we'll do that. Now, I want to tell you guys something. Good news. The person who won this, so we got both. The person who won this, I've reached out numerous times. They didn't get back. So I'm really sorry to the person who won, but they're not here. So I'm going to re-give this away. I'll give that one later. But the Lawnmower 4.0 was won by Chode. Mr. Chode, who's also known as Knobcraft. He is unable to accept it at this time. So he asked me to give it to someone else. So we're going to do it very, very simply right now. Okay. I'm going to randomize a number, Watts. Okay. I'm going to tell you in the chat.
Okay.
Number randomizer, okay? So I'm going to do 1 to 100, and we're going to do it, and I got it, okay? I'm going to put it in the chat, the private chat for Wat2K, so we can see that I'm not cheating.
And don't start, everybody, let's wait to start putting in numbers until we say, yeah.
They get very,
Kev
very
Chada,
excited.
I'm talking to you. Wyatt, same thing. I got the number. All right, no problem.
All right. So, all right, he's got the number. Now let's do this. We are going to say, pick a number from 1 to 100. If you get the number, you're going to win a Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. Watch2K, do me a favor and watch the chat for me, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you that Manscaped is the finest in men's below-the-waist grooming. Guys, they are in the process of sending me the beard care kit, which comes with a beard trimmer. I've been using the Lawnmower 4.0 for years. They got it?
They got it.
All right.
They got it.
David Gerard.
Is my good friend David Gerard.
There he is.
Congratulations, David.
All right. David Gerard, you won. Do me a favor. Email me. You're going to see the in the description of the video. Just expand it. You'll see my email. Go ahead and email me your information. Like, if name, if it's not David Gerard, it could be like Paul Wilson. For all we know, David Gerard.
His real name is Knobcraft. Just like.
Well, there you go. Right. So send me your information, your address, and all that jazz, and I'll get it to Manscaped, and they'll ship you the 4.0, the Lawnmower 4.0. But guys, I want to remind you that, again, as you know, there's no comparison between their products and any other comparable, like other competitors that are doing the same thing. I told you a company reached out to me. They had the Pube Muncher. Yeah, it's a lower tier, I'm sure. And so they're the best in below the waist men's grooming. And guys, you can save 20% added on to whatever's going on the website. There's always something off, always a percentage off. You can save an additional 20% by using the code GreenBean when you are at the checkout on that last page. And as always, you'll get free international shipping. So if any of you guys in the UK would like to take care of their balls, you can get free shipping way out there as well. Again, use the promo code GreenBean. So congratulations, David Gerard. Thanks for the second chance. Yeah, man, right. Second chances. What's CDDG? What's all that? Everybody's doing that. What does that mean?
I guess he's thinking Corey Davis. That's the only thing I could think of.
All right. Hey, what about DG?
DG.
Oh,
David Garrard. David Garrard.
Congrats, David Garrard. Thank you. Yeah, K Yeti. All right. So with that all said, guys, again, if you'd like to join the Beanbaggers and get some very, very cool additional access to me and fun stuff that we do, the links are in the description. And if you'd like to just join the Stream Beaners and get all kinds of fun stuff that you can apply to the live streams, free super chats and emojis and things like that, you can hit that join button right there below the video. Guys, let's ask Y2K what he's got coming up. You got anything exciting that you need to tell anybody?
Well, the first thing I want to say is I want to thank everybody who subscribed. We hit our 400 subscriber goal. The goal was December 31st. We got to it on January 2nd. So I'll take the 2 days extra. So I want to thank everybody who's been taking the time to watch. My rant, and I absolutely did rant on the Jets Seahawks game, has over 1,600 views. It's. I just realized people love to see me pissed off. I don't know why, but I guess it's entertaining.
It's exciting. I
guess so. But I'm going to have a couple of videos coming up. I just did a Rangers video. I'm going to be doing a series on New York Mets prospects that's going to be starting soon. And this weekend, I'm going to be putting up my off-season predictions for the New York Jets. I'm going to be talking about coaches. I'm going to be talking about players. Do I think this person will stay or go? You're going to hear my thoughts. And I've got a free agent idea that I think would be really good for this particular team. And I'm going to tell you who that player is, but you're going to have to check out the video to watch. I expect that's going to be up probably this Saturday.
Awesome. And you can find all that. You didn't tell them the channel. It's New York Sports Wicker Media. Like, where the hell do I go? That all sounds so exciting. It's New York Sports Wicker Media on YouTube. And guys, if you didn't know, I say it all the time, but he's also the president of the Virginia Jets Fan Club, a fantastic group of Jets fans over there in Norfolk, Virginia. If you're anywhere within an hour or 2 hours away and you're watching the game by yourself, of course, you should be watching it with me online. But if you're looking for a real place to go, tangible, tactile, people, reality, you can go to the Virginia Jets Fan Club at AJ Gators in Norfolk, Virginia. It's fantastic, man. So there you go. Now, guys, again, please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer to my goal of 10,000 subs. Now, Chode, I want to just say that's the Chode right there. Chode Uglis, he's the guy who told me, please pass it on to the rest of the guys. Let's see if they can, well, there it is. That's what's going on. I'm like, what is that? I thought it was a shadow. I'm like, it was like this all night. I'm like,
we didn't even notice it. Now we are.
I've been noticed. I thought it was like something back there. I was like, oh, but anyway. So thank you, Chode. That's a good man right there. You know, he passed it on to you guys, and that's what allowed David Garrard to win the Lawnmower 4.0. And we'll give this away maybe in the morning show. As you guys know, I started a morning show every morning, Tuesday through Saturday. 9 a.m. We do about 45 minutes to an hour, and we talk about whatever's going on. It's been fun, and we'll give one of these away in the next couple of days. The Manscaped Weed Whacker for your nose and ear balls. There you go. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and leave you. Have a great rest of the night, everybody, and I will see you next time.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah!
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.